Hello, everybody. Welcome into Talking Fitchburg on this Thursday, May 6, 2021. I'm Jeremy Crosby. Hope you had a wonderful day. Glad you're tuning in with us tonight for TF. A lot of things going on tonight. We've got soccer happening over on our other channel tonight. So if you're over there watching it, you're not hearing me right now. Well, maybe you're watching this later, and we're glad you're tuning in for that, for the replay. Now, if you're here right now, we're just happy to have you. And Andrew and I have a very busy show for you. We'll get you the latest on your Fitchburg road construction update. Andrew McFadden will be here, not the Andrew that runs the show, although I'm sure he could talk about traffic stuff and whatnot, make the other Andrew upset. But we'll save that for another day. And we are continuing our series with Arson Awareness Week. Yesterday we talked with the federal agents from ATF. Today we're going to be talking with the state's fire marshal office, learning a little bit about what they do in handling cases related to arson. And tomorrow we'll continue that series with our own Jay Wilson from the Fitchburg Fire Department. Bless you, honey. And it's going to be a great show today. We're off and running. Okay, let's get into the headlines. No more sneezing, dear. Canvas art. How about doing this at home? Yeah, there it is. Canvas art at home paint project. Enjoy this fun project at home. Project comes with all the supplies and written directions. You can also watch a pre-recorded video of the art instructor giving painting instructions. All you need to do is call 270-4290. That's Fitchburg Senior Center. Or fill out the form by May 14th to sign up for your kit. Kits will be available to be picked up at the Fitchburg Senior Center, or can be delivered to your home if you cannot get transportation. The cost for the project is $15. Checks can be made out to the Advocates for Worldwide Education. That's AWE. All right, Fitchburg Mobile Pantry returns to the city of Fitchburg. We've got the next date for you. This will be on Wednesday, May 26th from 2:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. No reservations, no ID needed, no questions asked. All are welcome to attend this drive-through distribution. No contact food will be loaded into your trunk. Walk-ins are welcome. Bring a card if you can. Sponsored by the UW Health and American Family Children's Hospital and Second Harvest Food Bank. For more information on this, you can call the Kids Safety Education Center, 266-6122. Apparently, I'm used to saying 60, so who knows? 266-6122. Don't want to screw you up on that one. All right, bike rodeo. Volunteers are needed if you'd like to help out with the bike rodeo. That's going to be taking place on Saturday, May 15th at Allied Park. If you're looking for the opportunity to give back to the community and have a great time biking around, this might be your opportunity to consider helping out for this bike event in the Allied neighborhood. This bike rodeo is on the 15th and involves two different shifts. So it's either 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. or 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And you can go to Bike Fitchburg for more information on that. And they're also looking for additional 10 to 15 more people to help out with registration table, bike stoppers, bike skill support, and community bike ride. No previous experience is needed. And we're hoping, too, that you can spread this and let people know that this is happening. So it's a great event, and biking is just so much fun. Our family's getting into it here, and I hope you all can do it too. It's a lot of fun. All right, Better Business Bureau tips. Buying the perfect Mother's Day gift. Coming from the BBB, so it's got to be good, right? All right, here we go. Gentlemen, take down your notes, or siblings, or everybody, right? You're buying mom that gift. And this is what it is. With more people being vaccinated and stimulus checks being distributed, this year's Mother's Day celebration, May 9th, is shaping up to be much more different than last year's, right? Consumers are expected to spend a record $28.1 billion this year. That's up from $1.4 billion in 2020, according to the annual survey by the National Retail Federation. Consumers may be more optimistic this year, making up for last year's when Mother's Day fell during the mandatory restrictions, according to the NRF. Here are the top 10 gifts shoppers are planning to buy. All right, get this down. Here we go. Ready? Greeting cards, flowers, special outing, gift cards, clothing or accessories. That's dangerous. I wouldn't do that one. Jewelry, houseware or gardening tools, personal services, books, CDs, and electronics. Andrew's bought all of those for his mom. He's such a nice guy. BB offers these tips to shoppers to help ensure that their gift don't get disappointed for Mom's Day, for her special day. Shopping online, avoid suspicious websites and glossy pop-up ads. Make sure that the website is legit. Look for that security of the HTTPS : the lock icon to make sure that it's safe. Flowers, make sure that the flowers are coming from a florist that is legit, is you don't end up with some crummy flowers. Electronics, when you plan to buy mom a new phone or tablet or other electronic devices, make sure it's in the original packing, and you should probably buy it directly from the realtor or a reputable dealer. And gift cards, don't even get me started. Just be careful out there with those and stay safe when you're buying mom's gifts this year. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Coming up next, we open up the digest. We have your Fitchburg road construction update next right here on Talking Fitchburg.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us.
Ready?
That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu. And especially this year, no one has time to get sick. Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Join me today from our Public Works Department, one of my favorite engineers. Don't tell the other guys. We've got Andrew McFadden back on the show. Andrew, how you doing?
Hey, Jeremy, pretty good.
Pretty good indeed. Don't be quiet. Be loud. Talk loud here, Andrew, and tell us what's going on Fish Hatchery Road. You're a quiet guy.
Yeah. There's quite a bit, definitely the grading, I think you'll notice first. It starts to actually looks like a road. That's from our southern limits up to Glacier. And so, they got all that concrete broken up. They still have, the concrete below that to kind of break up and get chunked down into a smaller base. But they did, I think kind of one of our biggest milestones was getting that gravel path back open so that folks on the Cap City Trail can connect up. I know it's a little bumpy, but it's better than crossing that grade. So that connects back up to the pedestrian overpass. So feel free to let us know if you have any other issues or questions out there while you're using that. There definitely some signal poles up at Ochala and Traceway. You'll notice those. In the next 2 weeks or so, we'll be getting the full signal poles and the mast arms up there. And then, likely then in the weeks to come, we will be having those start to flash initially and then turn on to kind of stop and go operation in the next couple months. So that's definitely exciting. What else? Definitely the box culvert, that work for the northbound lane sides are done. So that's exciting. And then kind of coming up in the next weeks or so, you'll see some streetscaping on the north half of the roadway and some of that signal work occurring. And, definitely on the southern half, more of the roadway and some of like the water main kind of storm sewer stuff on the south side as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, I guess going back a little bit to, now let's see, I'm going to get my road names wrong here, but McKee intersection with Fish Hatchery Road, what will we see there for any specific changes, or is that just pretty much staying the same as far as that intersection goes? Any changes there?
So with the full build, so in November, what you guys are going to see a few different things. So 2 southbound right turn lanes there with an island adjacent to that. So there's kind of one extra kind of traffic island out there for pedestrians to cross into. And then, similarly for the eastbound traffic, that'll be kind of channelized a little bit more than it was before. And so, you'll see a few more lanes and a little bit more like that. I think the idea there is to kind of separate the conflicts. And so some of the operations will be different, but we're working with folks. There has been some concerns, especially during construction, of bicycle and ped with vehicle conflicts. So we're definitely working through, working through what the plans are right now and anything else we can do to try to improve the kind of full build conditions to make sure that folks are safe and feel comfortable walking through there. So if there's any questions that anybody has, please let me know. We'll be talking with advocacy groups and residents in the next couple of weeks to work through what the plans are right now and what else we can do.
Fantastic. And then down, you said the stoplights and stuff. Will those turn on with that single point traffic going through then as well? Are we going to hold off on that for those traffic lights that are up right now? So that'd be Traceway and I can't remember the other road name you told me, and I'm just trying to pull my note up here.
Yeah, Ocala. I think last
Ocala,
week I
thank you.
said Pike. I think we changed that name during the design process, but
That's all right.
yeah. So I think initially we'll kind of phase in with flashing operations. It'll just be the same as what it is right now with a side street stop. So you'll see yellow flashing. Certainly Ocala will do that, and then after a couple of days we'll then go to stop and go operation. We might hold off a little bit longer on Traceway for stop and go just because it's right at that crossover, and so. We just want to be sensitive to folks. I know there's going to be a lot going on, especially when we transition over to work on the southbound lanes. And so we might want to hold off and just have side streets stop there still for a little bit, a little longer. And so that will just be, you'll see all the signals up, they'll be flashing, but it'll just be kind of the same operations, just with a signal now.
And then moving a little bit further down there at Traceway, and there is a bridge there. And is there any work that has to be done on that physical bridge? Like, is that the big box culvert you're talking about,
Yep.
or is it okay? See, I like to point these things out. So that box, is there anything that physically happens with that bridge location?
So I think the work so far has concluded for the northbound side. I think they'll do the same thing on for the southbound lane side, and then certainly getting that deck on and the roadway while they're paving the rest of it will come as well. So
maybe a better question is, what is a box culvert for the layman person like myself?
yeah. So it's essentially a bridge. You're certainly going over that water that goes kind of from the golf course to the creek on the east side, and for all intents and purposes, a bridge. But in this case, it's a large box of concrete. As part of this project, we were able to uncover that and do some work on it. While we're at it. So I don't know exactly what we're doing there. I didn't really get up to speed on that, but I definitely will by the time we do the southbound lanes.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'm not going to quiz you anymore on it, besides how much water moves through it in a certain amount of minutes. But other than that,
I can definitely get that to you.
I had a feeling. All right, we'll set that aside, and certainly if you got any questions on the project, business residents or people passing through there, you can always contact Public Works Department on that. Moving to our other project, our Woods Hollow East Shale project going on. What do you have for an update on that side?
Sure, yeah. So Woods Hollow is still closed. We have a 17-day closure. That might push a little bit because we ran into a few utility conflicts. But we're looking at probably paving that little section of kind of our project limits next week, and then that following week. So it'll be the week of the 10th, we'll be finishing that up, and then we'll move into the south side of the intersection by the 17th. So then the closure will be gone on Woods Hollow, and operations will still have kind of one lane in each direction, but all the full closures will be gone then. So yeah, that's exciting.
That is very exciting. And then they move on to East Shore Parkway then for resurfacing. Is that correct?
Yep. And that'll kind of be coming up in that next month after that. So, end of May, early June. So.
Perfect. Well, final one is Highway 14. I call it the Curiosity Project because I'm just curious on what's going on out there, and I keep bugging me on it. But as far as that project goes, how's that looking?
So I think you'll note that Burn Road's been closed for a while. I think it's closed through mid-June. So they're doing bridge work there at Burn Road, at McCoy, and they're also putting in a guardrail, a cable guardrail. Down the middle, in between a section of that. So I think as far as that goes, yeah, there's some lane closures, some crossovers, and I think that'll continue until mid-June, until they wrap that up. And then I think they'll move on to McCoy.
Fantastic. Real quick here then, Andrew, for people who do want to learn more about the projects happening in the city, where can those people go on the website to learn more about all the projects that are in the works happening, and just to be able to ask you questions?
Sure, yeah, certainly. Yeah, the Public Works website on construction projects. And that's for our projects. If you guys are interested in checking out, the WISDOT US 14 project, they have their own website that you can definitely put down below. And so you can check out that website, and they have kind of a brief description about what they're doing, what their schedule is on that. But as far as ours go, yeah, Public Works, engineering, construction, and then we have the construction projects and the design projects all in there. And we've made a few changes just to try to clarify that, because I know some of those can be tricky. So.
I like it. I was just going through it during this interview, and I was like, hey, there's some updates here. I love it. So, well, Andrew, thank you for taking the time out, as always. We certainly appreciate it, and we look forward to catching up with you next week, and go construction.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeremy.
I'm getting you a t-shirt and hat. That's all I'm saying. All right, we're going to take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and do your part. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit any social gathering. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today from the Fitchburg Fire Department is Adam Dorn, and in no fashion, Adam has brought yet another great guest here, as he has just been amazing bringing some great guests here, and very excited to have Bill here today. But Adam, set us up here. Who are we going to be interviewing today?
I wanted to do something a little bit different this year and talk to some of the fire investigators that we work with and what it is that their job entails, and when it gets beyond the our local scope of what we can handle locally within our department. What other resources do we have? And this gentleman is one of those next steps for us. It's the next line of resources for us. His name is Bill Boswell. He is a special agent and deputy state fire marshal with the state of Wisconsin. I've known Bill for a few years now. It's been absolutely awesome to work with, very easygoing. And what I like about Bill is that he takes time to help you understand. He just doesn't tell you. He makes sure that you understand what you're looking at and why things are, so that when you move forward in your investigation, you remember that and you can put all these pieces together. So Bill's been absolutely awesome. I've called him a few times. The triple car fire up on Williamsburg Way, that was an interesting one for me. But yeah, Bill's been awesome. So without further ado, I'll let Bill take over.
Bill, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us today. Tell us what your role is with DCI.
So I'm assigned to the Arson Bureau, or otherwise known as the State Fire Marshal's Office, through the Department of Justice Division of Criminal Investigation. I've been here just shy of 22 years, assigned to the Arson Bureau, and we're there as a resource to other public service agencies, law enforcement and fire service throughout the state, to come in at their request to conduct origin and cause investigations on fires and explosions.
What are the resources that your office can provide our local municipality or the municipalities across the state of Wisconsin?
Right. So what we have 11 agents across the state. We have agents in our Eau Claire office, in our Wausau office, Appleton office, Milwaukee office, and then 2 here in Madison. One of our agents also has, in the Eau Claire office, has an ATF Accelerant Detection K9. That's a program that the DCI has been part of since probably about March of 2000. When we got the first ATF Accelerant Detection K9 in Milwaukee. That agent had 2 dogs and ultimately retired around 2012, 2013 or so. And then our agent up in Eau Claire, Tiffany Ince, she now has Tutty, who's our Accelerant Detection K9, and that's just one of the other resources we have. The agents that we have across the state have various levels of experience. A couple of us have we're kind of old timers and been around for a little while, and we have some newer agents as well that have become part of this group in the last several years. And we just we don't go to every fire that occurs across the state, but as Adam mentioned earlier on, that when a local agency feels that they've reached a plateau, if you will, of what their abilities or resources might be, they reach out to us, and if we can come and assist them, we certainly do that.
Bill, I guess walk us through. I will use the example. We had a house explosion here in the city of Fitchburg a few years back. And actually, I probably should ask Adam to kind of lead us up to this. But where's that fine line of, when are you guys going to be joining in on this? And Dorn, when our investigators are looking at a scene like this, when are they contacting Bill to say, we're going to need some more help here. We got to start bringing in these resources. So maybe Adam first, set us up a little bit. And I know Bill wasn't part of that specific case, but we'll just kind of talk in general here.
Yeah, great question, Jeremy. So in Fitchburg, we will call for the next resources, the State Fire Marshal's office, whenever there is a death or if somebody's injured. Those are 2 big things that we want to make sure we get it done right. And the State Fire Marshal's office has a lot more resources to help us with those type of cases than what we do. So those 2 for sure. The other ones that we look at are the amount of the value of the dollar loss that we have at a particular scene. If it's above a certain threshold, we will call for more assistance. Those are some of the real big ones. I mean, there's probably other smaller, quote unquote, smaller cases or circumstances that we would call. But a lot of times those are the big ones. But sometimes the scene could just be so large that we need help because we don't have enough people to take care of the actual scene itself and do it in a timely manner. And
so Bill, then when you guys do, your teams get out there and get into the field, I mean, obviously we can't have you go into too much detail, but what are you doing as starting that interaction and coming on board on these scenes?
Right. So generally what we do when we get called by local agency, again, whether it's fire service or law enforcement, one of our goals is to assess what that need actually is, and sometimes that can be handled via a phone call, talking the local agencies through some of the facts that they have already to make a determination as to whether or not we need to send the cavalry out, whether it's a response from just maybe one agent locally or whether we need to bring in other agents as well. And that might not just be arson bureau agents. I mean, we have just about 100 agents across the state within DCI. And one of the things that we end up doing is, let's say we have a larger, maybe an apartment building or something like that, where we have a lot of different individuals that we need to talk to, witnesses that need to be interviewed. That really taps the resources of a local agency, especially if it's a smaller town or city. We'll bring in additional agents to help with interviews as well. And a lot of times before we get boots on the ground and actually start grabbing the shovels and processing a scene, we need to get some information, whether that's from the witnesses that maybe live in a particular structure or apartment building, interviewing the first-in firefighters that are there, the first-in law enforcement officers, to gather as much data as we can before we actually go in and start grabbing shovels and slinging debris to hopefully get down to where the origin and cause of that fire might be located. So it's really coming in and doing a triage, if you will, initially to see what that event might be. there used to be kind of a punch list of red flags that we would look at a property up for sale, maybe some prior criminal activity that may have taken place at that location. We need to vet some of that out to see if those red flags actually exist before we start sending people out. But we do have the resources to bring, 10 or 11 Arson Bureau agents to come and assist, as well as other agents within DCI to help us with those interviews to get some of that stuff handled before we start digging.
Yeah, I can't even imagine, as you're discovering and you're putting all the pieces together, and so many pieces as that, what is the average timeline? And a loaded question, because I know it's it's a lot of work, and I'm so glad that you're doing this, Bill, for us. But what does that timeline look for you as far as from day one that you make that first phone call to if it does go, whether it's going to be a case to be prosecuted or it's determined, whatever the outcome is?
I would say that varies with the scope of the scene. Are we if we're talking maybe a smaller room and contents fire at a residential structure versus maybe a 2-story apartment building that's completely down on the ground. And so I would say generally we're 1 to 2 days to process a scene, to get to the point where we've gathered enough of that data from the interviews to the scene processing to talk to the first-in firefighters, and getting all of that put together. But putting that case together then and getting it up through prosecution, depending on which county we're working in, and the resources that they have available, that could be several months before we get to a point where we're looking at prosecution. We do have instances where if we are collecting evidence and submitting that to the crime lab for analysis, that takes several weeks sometimes, depending on the type of evidence that it might be. We're going out doing video canvases as well if we're in an area where it's more commercial properties in the area, residences that have ring videos. So there's a lot of things that have to come into our hands, if you will, a lot of data that needs to be collected before we can finally maybe get to that determination that is this a set fire or is it not a set fire?
Wow. This is, I felt with the other Bill and talking, it's just that it'd be interesting to sit down and pick your brain someday of everything that you've gone through. And I know, unfortunately, that's never going to be the case. But, again, it's just an amazing work. And to know that you guys coming in and helping out the teams that are out there. And we certainly, Bill, appreciate your time today for sharing it. And I would just love to dive in. Like, this is the part where, but Adam says I can't ask anything too harsh today. So I'll leave it at that. But Bill, thank you so much for your time. I hope we can have you back on the show in the future. And Adam, thank you for setting this up as well. Great information for the viewers out there. And for Bill, stay safe out there and keep up the great work. And we look forward to having you back on the show someday.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Have a safe day.
You as well. Doran, always a pleasure. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Bet. All right. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Wrapping up the show for the day. I want to thank the folks from the State Fire Marshal's office for helping us out today and helping us do the interview. And then, of course, I want to thank Andrew McFadden as well for helping us out with the construction update. As we wrap up, remember, you can stay connected with Fact TV. It's all right there for you.